Hey everyone, this is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com and welcome to episode 80. We're here live today reviewing and recapping The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 14, The Other Side, broadcasting live from shelfaddiction.com/podcast. Whether you're listening live via Shelf Addiction or listening live via the Spreaker app, leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on last night's episode. If you enjoyed live episodes, go ahead and share it on Twitter right now. Show your support by rating the podcast and leaving a positive review on iTunes. The podcast can also be found on the Spreaker app, Google Play Music, the Stitcher app, and more. Want to comment on something you've heard during today's episode? Leave a comment now, or you can find me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. You can find Lisa on Twitter at Lisa Orban Author. If you'd like to email in feedback or questions, feel free to reach out to me at info@shelfaddiction.com. Hey, Lisa, what's up?
I'm home.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Got in late last night, so yay.
Yeah, I heard you were feeling down and out, a little sick. Are you feeling better?
I am. I'm feeling a little bit better. I got really sick. It was bad, but I'm better now.
Oh, fabulous. Just in time for us to talk about this wonderful episode 14, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And let's jump into it, shall we? It's got a lot to cover.
Oh, my Lord. This episode. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the main event. I feel like Sasha and Rosita were the main event of this episode. So let's start with them. A two unlikely pair, a pair of people go off. They march to war, I guess, on their own.
Well, they're playing sniper now. So, and I was so surprised. Sasha she's being very level-headed about it. She's like, hey, we can sit back, we can scope it out, get the high ground, and, I can sniper him from a distance and I won't miss. And Rosita, she's like, no, we're, close combat, we're going in there, we're going to get him. And then the end, oh my Lord.
I know. I know. I think this is all kind of like a domino effect because Sasha, if you remember early on in the episode when Jesus figured out what they were doing and, Enid said, you have 10 minutes before I tell on you. She wasn't ready. She said she was preparing. She wasn't ready to go right then.
Right.
And it's just like, well, we've got to go. We've got to go do this. So it was kind of like she had a plan, but it was still kind of half-baked because she wasn't really ready.
Right. And honestly, I thought the sniper idea was a good idea. I mean, they could have honestly holed up in that building for days.
Yeah.
Even a week.
Yep.
And waited for that perfect opportunity. But, they missed that one shot. They're like, all right, we're going in. And I'm thinking, are you crazy?
I know. Well, she only had 2 bullets, right?
Well, but she still had 2 bullets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there was no reason for them to, to so quickly move off and into that building. I mean, I realized they said that Negan was going to be gone for 24 hours or for the night, but they had the radio. They could follow his movements and find out where he was going and what's going on, and they could have planned for a better time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know. They did jump the gun, and then when they go over there, they have this grand plan after they see, silly old Eugene, right? They're like, oh, we've got to save him. Let's run over there and save him. That's part of it. And they get there, and what does he do?
He freaks out. I didn't ask you to save me. I didn't ask you to save me.
I know.
And runs away.
He's a little, what? That starts with an I and ends with a T. I'm like...
So I'm a little disappointed in Eugene. I really am. I had held out hope, that maybe he was just kind of doing a Carol and blending in until he could find his time to, strike, so to speak.
Well, but, you know what? There's always enough time. With 2 episodes left, they still have enough time for him to have one more situation. With Sasha on the inside now, he can help her. He has one more probably chance where he'll be presented to, kind of make things right or do the right thing. So I'm thinking they'll give him one more chance. They'll throw him a bone.
Yeah. Well, and Rosita was devastated that he basically just ran away from her. I mean, think about it. I mean, she has saved his butt more than once.
Yeah.
You know, she put her life on the line to save him more than once.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think Eugene should have been surprised that she would come after him, all things being equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So.
Yeah. It was, I know she felt pretty dreadful, about that. You can tell on her face, you know, she kind of was like, what the heck just happened? Did he really just run away?
Mm-hmm. I mean, and you could see the devastation on her face. I mean, it was just, and then Sasha just basically throwing caution to the wind and, you know, locking Rosita out and saying, nope, it's me. The world needs you. And I'm not going to say Rosita doesn't have a lot of useful skills. She does, but she's also a loose cannon.
She is a loose cannon. And I guess you wonder, are those tactical skills, the things that she's learned, are they more valuable than her just going off, you know, half-cocked at an idea and just ruining things for people? I mean,
yeah, she's not a planner. I mean, she's a doer, but she's not a planner. And I mean, and by them going off and doing this, I mean, they're endangering everything else and the plan that they've got going on outside of this. I mean, they know that they're going after Negan, and she still can't stop herself.
Yeah. You know what? That was their chance. Like, when they tried to save Eugene and it didn't happen, that was their chance to be like, okay, wait a minute. Or at least for Sasha, I thought Sasha would step up and say, okay, wait, what the heck are we doing? We'll come back. Let's just leave.
Right.
And she, you know, she didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, she trapped herself right in there, and she's like, ta-da, here I am. I'm going to go play the martyr. So who knows?
Well, you know, I have my own suspicions. You know, she got a lot of FaceTime, and Sasha usually isn't the character that gets a lot of FaceTime. So I'm starting to wonder, is that a sign that she's about to be killed?
Oh, as soon as she locked herself in, I'm like, yep, there she is. You know, she'll get a little bit more time next episode sometime, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And but that's going to be it. I think this is her swan song.
Yeah, you know what else? I heard, and actually I verified it on IMDb, but she is going to be one of the main characters on Star Trek Discovery on Sci-Fi. That's in pre-production right now. So maybe she's like, I can't do both. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to say that she found out that she's going to die. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she went and got herself another job.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, do they even tell them that far ahead, though? You know, they don't want anyone to know. So I wonder if she knew, you know,
well, but they actually do. I mean, there's been enough time between when they actually shot all this and her joining Star Trek, you know, in between that, you know, she could have found out through the course of, you know, shooting everything. Yeah. So.
Well, we'll see. I mean, because she's definitely going to get more FaceTime on Star Trek than she does on The Walking Dead, even though The Walking Dead is a very, very popular show. So we'll see if that's the right choice or not. But we suspect, I mean, who knows? She could somehow survive and just not have as many scenes. Who knows what they have planned? Anything could happen, I guess.
Exactly. Well, and then, you know, the other big thing it was that Maggie and Daryl moment. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, and Daryl's become a lot more feral, you know, since his capture. But that guilt, I mean, that we had talked about his guilt before with Glenn and towards Maggie, and he's just, you know, and they had that moment there in the cellar, and she's like, no, you're one of the good ones, and Glenn saw that in you, and you didn't do anything wrong, and I don't blame you, and I think he needed that absolution from her.
Yeah. For someone that's so strong-willed and feral, as you say, he was like a scared mouse also at the same time. Like, he wouldn't even look at her. She's like, can you look at me? I mean, like, what?
It's guilt. You know, I mean, it was just straight up guilt. You know, he knew how much they loved each other, and he was the one who acted up, you know, tried to, you know, and Glenn was killed. Right. So there was that moment there, and you know, he needed that absolution. They needed that moment together. So
Well, that's a good thing, because they need to be united. They need to not have any worry. He needs not be worrying about what's going on, between them while they're trying to fight off this other thing. But, speaking of Maggie, like, there were a couple things I want to applaud Maggie for. First, she's teaching people how to fight, regardless if, she's got knives, although technically they probably should be guns. But they can't probably learn in secret with guns.
Right. Well, they can't manufacture guns. They don't have any here.
Right. That's true.
They do have knives, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but pitchforks.
Yeah. Yep, they were making those.
I'm sure they're going to, I'm sure there's also going to be other things, maybe not quite as high-tech as a samurai blade. But at least maybe a chopping sword of some kind for distance. So, and they can also do arrowheads and stuff. Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah. Someone said that Daryl was making bolts. He was making bolts. Can you imagine shooting bolts? Oh my gosh, that would really hurt someone.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Maggie's got the one up. She's training, and I don't want to come down on King Ezekiel, but Maggie's training her people. He's planting. Dude, get your life together.
And Maggie's people are doing both. They're still producing. They're still, so they're taking these classes and they're all learning. And then when Negan's people came and took the doctor, did you see the assemblage? And they were all staring, And their current leader is not going to be a leader for much longer.
No, honestly, I think he's going to get overturned, and I think he's going to go and rat them out the minute he can, being that, Simon gave him that card or whatever.
I don't think he's going to make it that far.
You don't think so?
Well, you said you haven't seen the previews for next week. So I have.
Okay.
And do you want me to share a little bit?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, there's a quick scene, and it's him with one of those big Bowie knives in his hand, sneaking up behind Maggie while she's, it looks like she's digging carrots or something. And he's pulling the knife out, and it looks like, I think he's going to try and backstab her. Literally.
Oh, he's going to die. Someone's going to see him, and he's going down.
Yep. And so either she'll notice him, or, everyone keeps an eye on Maggie. She, with her being pregnant and everything that she's doing, she's like the most important person in these people's world. So because even Jesus noted, or, made the comment, you're splitting all of us up. You're making us all go to different sections and not work together. And I think he's done it on purpose, because he is trying to isolate Maggie right now so that he can kill her.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Maggie, being pregnant, I'm sorry, but okay. That sonogram, I guess that's what it's called. Okay, that baby looks pretty dang on big, and she still looks like she has a flat stomach. I'm like, I have a hard time with, how much time is passing. I wish they would just put, a month on there, or 3 weeks, 5 weeks. I'm having a hard time juggling how long has passed, especially when she doesn't look pregnant at all.
Right. Well, and I was noticing that too. I didn't look really, really closely, at the ultrasound. But I'm going to say that baby's at least by now 4 or 5 months along. So she should at least have that little baby bump thing going.
Yep. Even in the best case where you don't gain any weight anywhere else, you should still see a stomach starting to pop out by now.
Exactly. So I don't know. Or maybe not a lot of times past. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is kind of, and it's Georgia, so it's not like there's seasons. We can't go, oh, it's the fall. Yeah. It's springtime. So, yeah, it's kind of timeless there.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that they tell this story usually or mostly in a non-linear fashion. So, we'll see, 3 different groups, but they're all the same time, possibly. Right. Or some are further, some aren't. It's it's hard to keep track of what's what, at least for me anyway.
Yeah, so, I don't know. like I wasn't looking really, really closely at the ultrasound because honestly they could have snatched any kind of footage from it, so I just kind of discounted it. But I don't know. I mean, we know that she was at least 2 months along by the time when Glenn was killed. And we know that she's had at least a month of rest.
Right.
But after that, I mean, she could be anywhere between, 3.5 months or
to 5 months.
7.
Yeah. Or more.
Yeah. Or more. So it's, because they don't really give you a time indicator for it. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, definitely, I'm going to assume we're going to finish out this season without seeing much about that pregnancy. I bet we'll see this is the last, little glimpse, like kind of the nod to yes, everything's good. And the next 2 episodes are going to fly. And we'll probably come back next season with her either having the baby already. Because I still feel strongly that there's going to be a time jump. I feel that in my gut. They're going to jump sometime. So either she's going to have had the baby when we come back for next season or something.
Or she's going to be waddling big.
Yeah.
Right. Getting ready to have the baby.
Right. So.
And, yeah, because I kind of think, I think they will at least, they'll show her in like her 9th month, maybe the next season will start with Maggie screaming, and it's, that first contraction and then she has the baby and that'll kind of, I think that might be the jump off point, depending on how these next 2 episodes roll out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, we all know Negan is going to make it to the next season. That guy is not dying this season. That's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. I don't think he's going to, we're not going to get that far with 2 episodes left. So
it's going to be interesting. I mean, and, I don't know. I mean, so we've got, a whole bunch of stuff kind of, the little pieces are now starting to kind of fall into place, and I did like, I like this episode because it did show Sasha and Rosita, 2 characters that are good, but we don't really see a lot of. And to watch the 2 of their interaction and especially since, they both love the same guy and to see how they're dealing with each other and everything else that's going on. So it's been, and then of course Eugene, God, I'm so disappointed in him.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm like, that guy is such a punk. He would never.
I know. I had hopes for him. I thought he'd really grown as a person. You know what I mean? Kind of like because the preacher did.
He did.
And so who knows? But so I think next episode we're going back to Alexandria. And I can see that from the previews, and the river people will be
Oceanside.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be only a matter of time before we saw them again, because they have all the weapons. They have that weapons cache, and they need it.
Right.
So
yeah, they come into play next season or next episode along with Alexandria, and so and Rosita's gonna get kind of pulled back into the fold because that last person she saw right there was Daryl with his crossbow.
I don't think so. You know who I think it was? No. I think, now this is just my hypothesis, I think that it's I wrote his name down so I wouldn't forget. Dwight. Because remember, he had his weapon.
Yeah, that's true. He had his, he did have the crossbow and he had the jacket. I didn't even think about that. Because it's just a shadowy figure and you see the crossbow. And I thought, well, and Daryl was looking for.
Yeah, he was. But I don't think that's who it is. And we all know that, we were waiting on somebody from the inside to turn and to do something.
Oh, that would be something now, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So we'll see if my hypothesis is blown up next week or if it happens.
All right. Well, yeah, because, I just thought, oh yeah, it's Daryl. He's pissed because he didn't want anybody, anyone to screw up Maggie's plan, and he's going to drag him back. But you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to throw in with you and say that you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Rosita was not looking happy. I mean, I think if that was Daryl, she still wouldn't be looking happy, but I don't think she would have looked as pissed as she did.
Could be. I don't know. I mean, she was visibly shaken by this. I mean, not just by Sasha sacrificing herself, which, again, I find so very surprising because she seemed like she was someone that she wanted to live. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she sacrificed herself. And Rosita, who wants to die, that was the whole plan. It was basically suicide by cop is what she was looking for. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, and she's living, and I mean, and then, the fact that Eugene turned his back and ran on her after everything that they have been through. Mm-hmm. And even, and if I remember, didn't Eugene even profess his love for her a couple seasons ago?
Oh, I'm not sure. Did he?
I mean, he not like I want to be your, not that I want to be your boyfriend, but that he truly loved her and everything. So I'm sure for her, I mean, this has got to have been devastating. Mm-hmm. And you can see that she did not want to find herself liking Sasha. She wanted to hate Sasha.
Oh, she sure did.
She just wanted to use her. And then, they had that moment and they were talking about their past and, Abraham and everything. And, it got to her. I mean, she's tore up, man.
I know, she's so emotional. Like, for somebody, it's always the hardest people, right? It's always the hardest people on the outside. They're big ball of mush on the inside.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm really, these next 2 episodes are just, I mean, they're just going to be, I don't know, just wild because things are starting to move.
Yeah.
They're making the weapons and Oceanside is going to be drawn in one way or the other, and then, there's this potential, backstabbing murder,
I mean, but I'm so curious. I don't know how they're going to pull it together in that amount of time. I mean, technically, the kingdom still has not said they're on board yet, right? They haven't told them. They haven't told other people that we're joining with you. They haven't started training. I don't know how they're going to pull this together. Not only do they have to get the guns from Oceanside, but they have to convince them. And it took Rick a whole episode to convince those episode plus some to get the cooperation from the junkyard people. So I'm like, how is this going to work? I don't know how they're going to pull it together in 2 episodes.
Well, and like I said, I think I think they're going to end the season with, and we're together or we're ready, kind of thing.
So they do like a little round table or a council or something at the end. Yeah, like, let's do it.
And they're all there, they got all their people and they're like, we can do this, kind of. I don't think they will actually go to battle directly with Negan at the end of this episode. I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be the end of it's going to be, all of them together and saying, let's do this. And I think there'll be a cliffhanger of some kind, possibly having to do with Rosita or Sasha or, something. There'll be some kind of thing that'll go, oh my God, is that going to be?
So do you think this whole let's go take down the Saviors thing, do you think that's going to be all of next season? Them trying to sort out how to take him down? Like, that could be kind of boring after a while. I mean, what
next season will be, and this is my guess. The first half of the season is going to be that build up to taking Negan out. Mm-hmm. All right, and then the second half of that season is going to be the aftermath of getting rid of, the Saviors, and then trying to kind of stamp out all their little outposts and reconsolidate and everything. That's my guess.
That makes sense. And they really could do a really strong cliffhanger mid-season if they did that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think you might be right. But I'm curious to see who's going to make it out alive, because I feel like we have at least one more death before the end of this season. One person is going to die from the team, home team, at least one. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the doctor for Maggie would be the most devastating.
But you know what, though? I mean, I kind of feel like not so much, only because we know Lori made it all the way through and gave birth on her own without a doctor. It's possible.
This is true. I mean, I think as far as I know, he is the last doctor, too.
I know. Yeah. I mean, Negan is such an idiot. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what you think that doctor did. Doctors are in, high demand.
Yeah. Well, and he killed the other doctor, in Alexandria. She was Doctor-ish. But
right.
yeah. He's killing off medical personnel left and right as if, there's some hidden stash of them somewhere.
I know, that's so crazy. Like, oh, let me just go get another one and another one and another one. And then to find out that guy was his brother, the doctor was his brother. I'm like, I missed that before.
Yeah, I did too. I actually had absolutely no idea. So, yeah, joy. So, we know that Negan is a terrible, terrible person to the core of his soul. Yeah.
I know. And, it was funny when he had a little bit of a scene, well, I guess not even really a whole scene, when he came out and they were trying to use the scope to see if they could take a shot at him. I'm like, of course, typically, you can't get a clean shot on the guy. And it's like, right. 9 lives, I tell you.
Well, and like I said, I mean, they could have waited. They could have waited another couple of days. I mean, there was no reason for them to be in that much of a hurry, other than they're not planners. Neither one of them are planners, or they wouldn't be where they're at.
Yeah. And they have no patience because you're right. All they had to do was wait it out. Just wait it out. Mm-hmm. And they would have gotten a shot eventually. Just be vigilant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and considering how good a shot both of them are, but I mean, hands down though, Sasha was the better shot. Mm-hmm. That's why she had the gun. When they went to attack Negan's compound, they could have thrown them up there in that building and basically said, if you get a clean shot at Negan, take him. Just take him out. Mm-hmm. And, but no, they had to run off and do their own thing because
of course.
They're idiots.
Exactly.
So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There was a lot going on in this episode. I cannot wait until Gregory is gone. I cannot wait. He is like the worst leader.
And I think that's going to be next episode.
Yeah. See, now I'm curious. I want to go watch the preview for the next episode. Like, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go watch it.
You really should.
Okay.
You should.
But you know what, though? Honestly, I'm like, I always get nervous because the Walking Dead, they are masters of, the misdirect. You know what I'm saying? They always show us one thing, but then it's not exactly that. So.
Yeah. But I do, Gregory, though, he's been getting slyer, I guess, and he's getting that real whip puppy thing going on.
I know.
And, he kind of looks down into the side. He never really actually looks up at anybody anymore. He's always kind of looking at you from the corner of the eye. And then he threatened, Jesus, which was a bad move on his part. And then he kicked him out and basically said, "You're not my friend anymore, so I'm not going to protect you."
Yeah.
And, it's just, he doesn't seem to understand that the saviors are going to continue to take. There is no amount of giving that is ever going to be enough for these guys. There is always going to be more to take.
But I don't think he cares at this point because I think he feels like he's got in with Simon. He was, being all, sucking up to him. I mean, to the point where he's now even graduated from bourbon to tequila or something because that's what Simon's drinking. So it's weird.
And I really do. I'm curious as to what he actually wrote on that note because I don't know, because they don't know where the saviors live.
Right.
And so it would be, I just find it unlikely that he would have given them directions to the saviors.
Yeah, that quickly too. I don't know if you could give directions that quickly.
Yeah. And everything. I mean, he could be playing Gregory and sending him off to his death.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Just because it was funny. Mm-hmm. But, and again, and Negan doesn't care about who's the leader as long as that leader does what they want.
Right.
You know, so they don't care if Gregory stays in charge or not. That's not their problem. That's not their issue.
Right.
So,
all
we'll
right.
just see.
Well, goodbye, Gregory. Possibly goodbye, Sasha. We will see if it's those two.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
cool.
Good episode. I can't wait till next week.
I know. I'm really happy with the way this season is finishing. You know, they always have like this lull sometimes here and there, but it seems like it's on the uptick and we're going to have a strong finish. So I'm excited about that.
I think you're right.
Yes.
So,
anything else on this episode before we close things out for the day?
No. If any of our viewers or listeners, you know, have any other comments, you know, throw them up there and we'll get back to you. But I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Oh, yes, indeed. So we'll be back here on Sunday. So download, stream, all that fun stuff. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's PCS special live episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. First, you can head on over to iTunes and give a positive 5-star review. You can follow both myself and Lisa on Twitter. You can follow the Shelf Addiction Podcast on Spreaker, the only place where you can get broadcast notifications so that you never miss a live episode. Most importantly, you can share the podcast with friends and family that love pop culture. Thank you for listening. Until next time, happy viewing.